First, notepad. Click on notepad. Any problem, Lavanya? Def 1. Def 1. See, theory also important, interview point of view. Def 1. Means definition 1. Def 1. Colon. First what we discussed, it is a systematic approach to automate software test process. It is a systematic approach to automate. It is a systematic approach. Systematic approach to automate software test process. To automate software test process. Software test process. Process. Joseph, are you there? 1 minute. It's very slow. Venugopal, can you type quickly? Have typing knowledge? Okay, cool. 1 minute. You leave control, Lavanya. Take control, Venugopal. First definition over, she typed. Second definition, press enter and leave one blank line. Def 2. Definition 2. It is a set of guidelines. It is a set of, okay, cool. Set of guidelines, comma, assumptions, put mute and type, otherwise typing sound coming. Set of guidelines, assumptions and process developed by experts, comma, in order to perform tasks, press enter, in order to perform tasks in an effective, comma, efficient and optimized way. Enough. Full stop. See, this is about what is automation framework. Next, why automation framework also I explained. Why automation framework? Come to second topic. After why automation framework, leave one blank line. Ah, in a project test automation, in a project test automation, we create and use different types of files. Files means resources. Different types of files within brackets resources. Close brackets, and different types of and perform different types of tasks. Enter different types of tasks, comma, in order to store, comma, organize and manage them all a systematic approach is required. A systematic approach is required. Systematic approach within brackets framework, automation framework. Systematic approach, nothing but systematic approach is required after approach, right? Automation framework. Good. Cut it. A systematic approach is required. Okay. Next, types of automation framework. Say generally, framework names are local. Suppose if you say, in our company we are using ABCD framework, if you explain proper process, we have to accept it. Why? ABCD framework may be there. Suppose if I ask how you generate tests in QTP, if you say using object spy, generally we generate tests, that is a wrong answer. Why? That is universal process. Either object repository or descriptive programming, generally testers generate tests. No other way, no other possibility. But test automation framework, already we discussed, this is third party concern. Here no standard names. You can use your own names, but meaningful names. Suppose if you say my company using XYZ framework name is XYZ. If you explain proper process, 1 minute, if you explain proper process, then we have to accept it. Why? XYZ framework may be there. There is no universal process. But some common frameworks available in the IT industry since 90s. See, it is a 90s concept, not new. Say, QTP developed in 2002. Before QTP inception also, framework concept was there. Earlier, WinRunner and other Silk Test, other tools were there. See, every tool uses framework, but that is not mandatory, optional task. See, some common frameworks available in the industry. Can you tell me some names, Naomi, framework names, what you heard, some common frameworks? No idea, no framework name. Okay, cool. Shraddha, hmm. Okay, okay, cool. Okay, continue, Venugopal. Say just I will give brief idea about 4 or 5 common frameworks. Then we will start practical concepts. First one, first one, old generation, first generation framework, recorded. No need to write first generation. Within brackets we can write. First generation framework, record and playback framework. Record and playback. Record and playback. Ah, first generation framework. Or you can say linear framework. Another name of this framework, linear framework. Framework. Okay, say in order to understand any framework, one brief format, first description, next line, description, uh, next, don't write, next advantages, disadvantages. This is the format for understanding any framework. Advantages, next disadvantages. Okay. First description. In this approach, in this approach, tests can be created and executed. Tests can be created and executed using record slash framework, playback, sorry, record slash playback, playback features. 1 minute, somebody calling. One minute, Venugopal. Record slash playback features. Record slash playback. Next, advantages. Take control, click on notepad. Advantages. Leave one blank line. 1. Tell me one advantage, Lavanya. Advantage of record and playback framework. No VBScript. Okay, that is secondary thing, but primary things are there. First one, advantage, easy to create, and it takes less time, and takes less time. Next advantage, uh, as she told, scripting knowledge is optional. Scripting knowledge is optional. Next one, recommended for short-term projects. For short-term projects. Next, recommended for dynamically changing user interfaces. Dynamically changing UI designs. U capital, I capital. UI designs. Next, recommended for dynamically changing requirements. Say, if user interface changing dynamically or requirements changing dynamically, just re-recording. Anyhow, recording takes less time. Next, one more advantage also there. Uh, it is to uh, it is to analyze the AUT. It is to analyze the AUT in terms of object identification. In terms of object identification. See, these are the important advantages. Uh, Next, disadvantages. Disadvantages. Tell me one disadvantage, Muhammad. Muhammad. Uh, Programming you and one more thing. Scripting knowledge optional, but you can enhance recorded script also, no problem if you have programming knowledge. But generally, scripting knowledge optional. But one primary thing is there, that is no centralized maintenance of test objects. No centralized maintenance of test objects. So it creates local repositories for every action. So no centralized maintenance of test objects. Next one. Tell me, Shraddha, any other disadvantage? All scripting knowledge is optional. So less or no, less slash no. Okay, less or no concentration on complex functionality testing. Concentration on complex functionality testing. Yes. Low in performance due to duplicate objects. Low in performance. Low in performance due to duplicate objects. Say every time it adds objects to local repository, sometimes it may add duplicate objects. Next, continue, Muhammad. 1 minute, Geta is there or not? Why she is not adding? See, use stable connections. So many times I added her. Tell me, Srinivas, anyone disadvantage of performance already we covered, na? Mrs. Venkat, no reusability. Why no reusability? You can execute same script again and again, na? No reusable components, but reusability is there. No reusable components. Here we don't use, generally we don't use Reusable components. Why? We record. Recording is easy. Generally, we record. But reusability is there. Otherwise, no use of framework. Tell me, Mrs. Venkat, any one disadvantage of record and playback framework? No idea. Cool, cool. Put mute. Okay. Ah, ah. Already we covered in second point. Okay. Ah, yes. See, testers may not have command and test scripts na. So locating errors is difficult. Locating errors is difficult. Locating errors is difficult. Okay. Next point. Put mute. Somebody's to make noise. Otherwise tell me. Ah, one by one. Tell me. Cannot run the multiple tests. Why? Test batch runner is there na. You add test batch runner to recorded scripts. There is no limitation. You can run multiple threads. What is multiple thread? Ah, there is no 1 minute. There is no thread terminology in automation. Test automation. What is multiple thread? Ah, in browsers. Tell me, Shraddha, in browsers. Anusai, tell me. Ah, okay, no problem. Cool, cool. See, locating errors will be difficult. Any other disadvantages? And one more thing. Some operations can't be recorded. Some operations can't be recorded. Some operations can't be can't be recorded. Some operations can't be recorded. Example, operations on disabled objects. Okay. Any other example? Operations on disabled objects. Oper ah see repositories get corrupted. Sometimes shared repositories also same. Okay. Next, uh, without application we cannot start test design process. Without stable application, okay. Without application we can't start test design process. Okay, this is not a disadvantage and not recommendable thing also. Okay, these are the important disadvantages. 1 minute, 1 minute. Tell me, Naomi, what is record and playback framework? First thing, description, next advantages, next disadvantages. This is the format. Tell me, what is, ah, 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 ah. Mm. Mm. Ah. Ah. Good. Ah. Mm. Next. This. Ah. Ah. Com functionality testing. Good. Mm. Ah. Why locating errors difficult? Already I covered in record and run test chapter. Say test, if you record tests, you may not have psychological point. If you record test scripts, you may not have command on scripts. If you type test scripts, you will have command on scripts. That is the reason. Okay. Next. Exa Objects. Disabled objects. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. Ah. Without application, we can't start test design process. Okay. 1 minute. See, next second one. Take control Venugopal. Second. 2. Use Roman number 2. Already we are using that numbers for advantage and this one. Use Roman number 2. Use I 2 times. Close brackets. Data-driven framework. Actually, it is not full-fledged framework. Nowadays, it is part of every framework. But in olden days, some companies used this framework only for data-driven testing. Remaining testing, individual tests, remaining are individual test execution, only for data-driven. Some companies use data-driven framework. But nowadays, it is part of every framework. It is part of every framework. Nowadays, it is not separate framework. In interviews also, you can explain. Nowadays, data-driven framework is not separate framework. It is part of every framework. Example, it is part of keyword-driven framework, modular framework, etc. And even record and playback also. What is data-driven framework? First, description. In this approach, description. In this approach, tests can be executed using multiple inputs, multiple, multiple inputs. Next, advantages. Tell me one advantage, Smita. Smita, are you there? Tell me one advantage. Already we covered this concept in first chapter. Ah, more faster, slower. Oh, mm, actually, your description is not matching actually. Advantage, two advantages. First advantage, Positive and negative testing. Data-driven testing primary purpose is positive and negative testing. Several times I explained this concept in first chapter, not only in first chapter, in parameterization chapter also I explained positive and negative testing. And second one, Anusai. What is the another one? Anusai. Anusai. Checking the reliability of the system. System means application under test. Checking the reliability of the system. Say, by executing same functionality again and again, we can check the reliability of the system. See, in internet you can find if you perform same task again and again, some applications may hang. Hanging application is not reliable application. Every time, for every iteration, it has to respond. That is the reliability system. Here, by performing multiple iterations with multiple sets of test data, we can check the reliability of the system. See, in initial chapters I have explained. Basically, QTP is functional and regression test tool, but it also supports little bit performance testing. We can measure test transaction time, not like load runner, 1000 users, 5000 users, only per user. We can measure transaction time or as well as part of the test transaction time. Second thing, it supports little bit reliability testing. By performing data-driven testing, we can check the reliability of the system. Next, third one, it checks, it supports little bit compatibility testing also. Don't write this concept. That is different concept. I will explain in another concept. See, it is not related to this one. It support little bit. It means here QTP. It supports little bit compatibility testing also. Browser compatibility, not full-fledged. See, little bit compatibility. Browser compas. Ah, ah. Only only support IE if you install plugins. Plugins available that Mozilla plugin, Chrome plugin. You can execute same script on other browsers, but still some problems are there. Say not only Mozilla or Safari or Chrome, you can execute same scripts on different versions of IE na, on IE6, IE7, IE8, IE9, isn't it? Different versions of browsers, different versions of operating systems. Example on Windows XP, Windows 2003 server, Windows 2008 server, Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8 like. So not full-fledged. It supports little bit compatibility testing. See, I have explained four concepts. Check once again. Check once again. Basically, QTP is functional and regression test tool, but it also supports little bit performance testing, reliability testing, and compatibility testing. Just remember, uh, only these two advantages, Venugopal. Remove the third one. That is not advantage of this one. Remove third one. Next, disadvantages. Tell me disadvantages. Anusai, tell me one disadvantage of data-driven testing. Here only concentration on data-driven testing. So less or no less or no concentration on complex functionality testing. Type less or no concentration on complex functionality testing. Complex functionality testing. Maintenance. Uh, Maintenance of resource is difficult. Maintenance of resources. See, when it compares to record and playback, more resources. Test data files also resource files. Maintenance will be difficult than record and playback framework. Than record and playback single word framework. Next, same low in performance. See, data driven testing na low in performance. Next, small underline continuous hyphen symbol. Okay, enough. Small underline. Third one, modular framework. Modular framework. Third one, modular. Modularity means similarity. Modular framework. See, modular means similarity. Suppose insert order operation, insert order end-to-end scenario is there. Next, fax order end-to-end scenario is there. End-to-end scenarios. For insert order, first login, then insert order, then close application. For fax order, first insert order, then first login, then open order, next fax order, and close application. In these two scenarios, login is common. Login is modular component. Modular. See, modularity means similarity. Modular means reusable. Reusable. Okay, before that, 1 minute, before that, tell me, Muhammad, what is data-driven framework? What is data-driven framework? And what are the advantages and disadvantages? Ah, ah, ah. Multiple inputs. Good. Ah, ah. Good. Disadvantages? Ah, good, good, very good. See, next, continue. When Gopal, click on this white area. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Disturbance. Na. Continue. Modular framework description. Modular framework. In this approach, in this approach, tests can be created, tests can be created and executed using reusable components. Using reusable components. Next, advantages. Advantages. Centralized maintenance of test objects. Centralized maintenance of test objects. Next, maintenance of resources is easy. See, all are organized manner is easy. Next, fa faster in execution than record and playback framework. Here no duplicate objects na. So framework single word. Framework single word. Next, any other? Tell me, Smita, any other? Concentration on complex functionality testing. See, for modular framework, scripting knowledge required. So, concentration on complex functionality testing. Complex functionality testing. Next. Next. Tell me, Smita, any other? Okay. Next, we can start test design process even though application is not ready. Reusability. What is that? What is that? What is the advantage reusability? I will explain next point. Continue. We can start test design process even though application is not ready. See, by defining new test objects, but it is not recommendable feature. We can start test execution process even though application is not ready. Test design process, not execution process. For execution, application must and should test design process even though application is not ready. Even though application within brackets you write not recommendable. Next, say in this approach we use reusable components. See, definitely we can reduce the project code size. Say, due to reusable components, project code size will be reduced. Due to reusable components, project single one, project code size will be reduced. See, we cover maximum. Next, disadvantages. Disadvantage of modular framework. First disadvantage, efforts required at initial stage. Say, time taking process than record and playback. Record and playback easy. Efforts required at time at the initial stage, continuation, and it takes more time. This is one disadvantage. Next, scripting knowledge is mandatory. Next, not recommended for short-term projects. Not recommended. Not recommended for short-term projects. Why? Efforts required. Next, not recommended for dynamically changing UI designs. If user interface design changing every time putting efforts, every time creating shared repositories and functions, time taking process. If it is recording, just re-record the scripts. Suppose you created 200 scripts in your project, see some user interfaces changed, just re-record 70 to 80 scripts affected, just re-recording. If it is modular framework, this one rework is very time taking process. Next, not recommended for dynamically changing requirements. Not recommended for fifth one. Not recommended for dynamically changing requirements. Okay, see, these are the disadvantages. Just 1 minute. These are the primary important disadvantages we discussed. Next, tell me, Yosef, what is modular framework advantages and disadvantages? Ah, mm, mm, ah, 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 good. Next, disadvantages. Mm, mm, ah, 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 mm, good. Okay. See, next, keyword driven framework also there. Keyword driven framework. Pardon? Hmm. No, no. Modular. Now we are discussing frameworks individually. If modular plus data driven, that is hybrid framework. Two approaches na hybrid framework. That's why I explained earlier. See, nowadays data driven framework is not independent framework. It is part of every framework. Now you can find the data-driven framework in every framework, not only in modular. Even record and playback also, nowadays some people are integrating that data-driven framework in order to perform positive and negative testing. See, actually data record and playback framework, old framework, but still it is recommendable for short-term projects. Suppose waterfall model is there, SDLC model. old model, single stage of testing, but still some companies using waterfall model. See, based on project and based on customer interest, some companies use old concepts also. So, still record and playback framework in live, but not recommended for uh, this one complex projects. Say before keyword driven framework, 1 minute you leave the control. See hybrid framework. Okay, keyword driven framework is important concept that I will explain in detailed manner, even theory also. Before that, hybrid framework, just a hybrid framework. What is hybrid framework? Tell me, Muhammad. Just tell me the single line description for hybrid framework. What is hybrid framework? Ah, ah, yeah. See, simple thing. It is a combination of two or more approaches, isn't it? It is a combination of two or more approaches. It is a combination of two or more approaches. uh, record and playback plus data driven, modular plus data driven, or keyword driven plus data driven, any combination. Minimum two approaches, maximum no limitation. It is a combination of two or more approaches. Advantages. See, it is flexible to perform any type of task. That is the major disadvantage. Next drawback is maintenance of resource is difficult. Adapting human resources at middle of the project also difficult. Okay, anyhow, that we will discuss later. See, next come to keyword driven framework. Keyword driven framework. See, I think all of you familiar with this term, keyword driven. Do you hate this term, Naomi? Keyword driven framework? Mm. And one more thing, nowadays in the industry, different flavors of keyword driven frameworks available. Suppose your company keyword driven framework is different, my company framework is different, but basic concept same, but creating and using resources might be different. See, there is no universal process. There is no standardized process. See, name keyword driven framework, but different flavors of keyword driven framework available in IT industry, different types of keyword driven. You take V model. V model also having different flavors, different versions. See, generally we say V model, it is linear, it is sequential model, multiple stages of testing, but different flavors of V models available. It is vary from one company to another, but basic concept is same. What is basic concept of V model? It is sequential model, not incremental model. It is sequential model. Next, multiple stages of testing available. Unit integration, system and acceptance testing. In order to increase the quality, uh, that multiple stages of testing adopted. Okay. Before keyword driven framework, before discussing this concept, I forgot one small concept, just listing out. Types are 1 minute. I think now all of you familiar with what is automation framework. Next, why automation framework. In that why automation framework, some extension topics are there. Say in this description, it is not definition, just a description. In this description, I've used two terms. In a project test automation, we create and use different types of files. Files are resources. File one concept, next, and we perform different types of tasks. Files, tasks. I used these two. I need to explain this one. See, I think all of you familiar with what type of files we create and use in QTP test automation and what type of tasks we perform. But once again, I am listing out all types of files. Concentrate. Extension of this topic, EA. Files to be created and files to be created and used. Files to be created and used. See, this is one concept. Next, tasks to be performed. I will list out all tasks. Now tell me, Joseph, generally what type of files we create and use during test automation using QTP tool. What? Data files. What is data file? What is the extension of data file? Yes, shared repository files. Shared 1 minute. Shared repository files, one or more. Extension is, tell me, Naomi, what is the extension of shared repository file? Naomi. Naomi, are you there? Tell me. TSR, test shared repository. Next, function library files. Otherwise, you can just say library files. Function library files. What is the extension of function library files? Lavanya, two extensions are there. Just remember, sometimes in certification exam they ask one local extension is there, one global extension is there. All of you familiar with the global extension. What is the QTP local extension for library files? QFL, Quick Function Library. This is the local extension. Next, global extension, VBScript. Say, try to use VBS extension only, that is global. Next, say, QTP prepared one alternate, but try to use global extension only. Next, environment variable files. Environment variable files, one or more, generally one file enough. What is the extension, Muhammad? Environment variable files. Dot XML. Yes, good. Dot XML, extensible markup language. Next, test batch files. Anusai, test batch files. See, generally we don't use all files for every project, but I am listing out all files. I am introducing once again all files, but in any project we can't, we no need to use all files. We use some files only, some types of files only, but generally we don't use all files for every project. Tell me, Anusai, test batch files. Test batch files. Using test batch runner, we created test batch files. Okay. Next, tell me when I can you tell me? Just say yes or no. When I not responding, some people not responding. Respond. Smita, say yes or no. No. Okay. Venugopal, I'm expecting. Q, huh? QTB. What is QTB? QTB stands for MTB. MTB. Earlier it was a Mercury test batch. Now they are calling module test batch. Next, recovery scenario files. Lavanya. Recovery scenario files. Good, good. QRS. Quick recovery scenario. Next, see for local repository also extension is there, but user no need to remember. User no need to remember why. That is internal file. Tool only creates and maintains, but just know the extension. Sometimes in certification exam they ask local repository, local repository file or files. What is the extension? Tell me, Shraddha. No, 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 not MTS. What is MTS? Module test script. That is test extension. Test script extension, not repository extension. MTR. Earlier it was Mercury test script, Mercury test repository. Nowadays they are calling module test repository, MTR. Next, for QTP test also, QTP test script also, test or you can say test script. For QTP test script also, extension is there. Tell me, Srinivas, what is the extension of QTP test? Huh? Just she told, Shraddha told, MTS. MTS, yes. Dot module test script, EMTS. Say, extension is there, but we no need to use extension for QTP test. No need to use extension. For remaining all, we must use extension. If it is file, if it is file, we must use extension. But for QTP test, we no need to use extension. No need to use. If you want to use, you can use, no problem. But no need to use extension. Why? What is the reason? See, one of my old student also faced this question in one interview. What is the reason? Can you tell me, Yosef? Extension is there, but no need to use extension. Can you tell me the reason? Okay, okay. Say, ah, no need to remember. Remembering is different, but using is different. I am asking about no need to use. No need to use. No need to use extension for QTP test. 1 minute. See here, footnote. I am creating test. Test name is login. Test name is login. Create. Associated with the tool. No. 1 minute I will explain. Wrong description. Say, I created login test. Just typed something. Just save. Save. Next, I am taking new test. Create. Now I want to open my old test login. Login available in this test folder. Test folder. Another test also there, GUI test 1. See, remember, 1 minute, 1 minute. Login test available in this test folder. This is login. Try to open. Here login is there. See, tool point of view, login is single entity. Tool point of view, login is file. But file system point of view means hard disk, physical hard disk point of view. This test is folder. It has subfolders and files. Tool point of view file, file system point of view folder. So for folders, no extension. So you no need to use extension. This is the reason. Now tell me, Muhammad, why we no need to use extension for QTP test or test script? Ah, ah, see, see, tool point of view, tool point of view, tool point of view, test is file only, but file system point of view, folder. For folders, no extension. That's why you no need to use extension. Sometimes they ask in interviews, what is the extension of QTP test? Extension is there, but we no need to use. Why? This is the reason. Next, uh, 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 there is TSP below the file name. 1 minute. Dot TSP test script. What is the TSP? Okay, I will check it one. Earlier it was MTS. It is showing TSP na test. Ah, okay, good. Okay, good. I will check this one. Tomorrow we will discuss this one. See, up to 11.0 MTS only, but either MTS or TSP, you know not to use extension. Reason, uh, mm, this one file system point of view, that is folder only. Okay, I will check that one. Next, any other files? Tell me, Anusai, any other files that we created and used? 1 minute. These are the except environment variable file, except environment variable file and function library file VBS XML. Except these two files, remaining files are local files, not global files. See, don't confuse internal file, external file, that is different concept. Local file, global file, that is different concept. Local file means only particular application can understand that format. Example, TSR is local file format. Only QTP application can understand. VBS is global format. VBS can be understood by notepad also, library file or QTP editor, or in HTML you can embedded VBS code components in HTML and ASP also. XML also same. Extensible markup language cross-platform can be understood by more technologies, maximum technologies. But MTB, module test batch, it is a local extension. Say in this category, files two types. One is local files, another is global files. Here TSR, MTB, QRS, MTR, MTS, all are local file formats. QFL also, VBS, XML, global formats. See, for these 7 types of files, restrictions are there. You cannot use other extension for MTB. You can't use other extension for QRS and TSR also. But remaining files, no restrictions. You can use any format. Example, test data files. For test data files, before this, I will explain one more common file also. E8 AOM script file. What is the extension of AOM script file, Naomi? Extension of AOM script file, Naomi. You don't know? Okay, cool. Tell me, Joseph, earlier we used AOM script for batch file, batch execution, batch testing. Gopal, Venugopal, MTB, that is for test batch runner. That is a QTP tool feature. AOM script is VB script feature. It is VB script feature. Dot VBS. Yes, dot VBS only. And one more thing, one difference is there in between library files and AOM script files. If it is a library, You can execute from QTP tool editor also, but if it is AOM, you need to execute externally. Why? It it provides instructions to QTP tool. So don't run AOM script file from QTP tool editor. Sometimes it blocks QTP menus. Run AOM script file externally. See, now my question is, question to Smita, why can't we run AOM script file from QTP tool editor? That is different concept. Blocking or another damage. Damage might be anything, but why? Why can't we run AOM script file from QTP tool editor? Remaining files we are running, but why? Why can't we run a AOM script file from QTP? Uh, Externally, okay. Why? The reason. Okay. See, reason is, see, remaining. Yes. Say it is not part of QTP test. It is not, first of all, remember, it is not part of QTP test. You take any function or flow control statements or reusable component action function, next any other thing, part of QTP test. But AOM is not part of QTP test. It guides QTP tool. In order to guide, it has to run from external location, not from internal location. If it is internal, how it guides QTP tool? So run AOM script externally, then it can guide QTP tool. It can provide instructions to QTP tool. Test data file. See, for test data files, no extensions, no restrictions. You can use either TXT or XLS or MDB or QTP local also there. That is data table. Data table, no extension required. Data table also one of the resource spreadsheet, integrated spreadsheet. For test data files, no restrictions. Next, next, test result files. Test result files. Tell me, Srinivas, what is the extension for test result file? A general QTP extension. Say QTP provides test result in XML format for watching. For watching, QTP shows test results files in XML format. For exporting, it supports other formats like HTML, documentation format, next portable document format, PDF, and one more thing, these are the QTP formats, QTP inbuilt supporting formats, but no restrictions. You can use either TXT or XLS or MDV, etc. files for exporting test results. Means, say, already one facility is there that we discussed. We can define test results in QTP. So we can use our own files also. No restrictions. Any other files identify Srinivas? We covered all or anything else? I think we covered maximum files. Test batch, recovery, local repository, QTPT, AOM, test batch, test data files, results files. Okay, maximum we covered. Say this is about files to be created and executed. Next, one more extensions topic, tasks, tasks to be performed, tasks to be performed. See here I will list out complete high level tasks. Before this one, Muhammad will explain all types of files that we use in QTP test automation. Extensions not required, Muhammad. Just list out all files, Muhammad. Just list out. Ah, 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 hmm, ah, good. Not Mercury test batch, that is old extension. Module test batch nowadays. Module test batch. Ah, okay. Next. Ah, 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 ah. Uh, l- leave it. Extension changed it. Tomorrow I will explain that one. Leave it. Next, continue. Ah, ah, hmm, hmm, ah, hmm. Yes. No limitations. No limitations. You can use any type. No limitations. 1 minute. Nine. See, maximum 10 types of files. Next, tasks to be created. Tasks to be created. Uh, ah, Tell me, Venugopal. Uh, uh, Virtual object is not file. Virtual object creates virtual object in object repository. 1 minute, 1 minute. Tell me, Venugopal. Ah, Not different from red. That is also test script only. If we use general object or virtual object, that is test script only. For virtual object, no extension. Virtual object is not resource. That is feature. Feature is different. Resource is different. It creates one virtual object in object repository. Hello? Ah, Virtual object is not a resource. It is feature. It is feature. Suppose step generator is there. Step generator is feature. It doesn't create any file. Suppose recovery scenario. Recovery scenario also feature, but it creates resource. That resource is recovery scenario file. extension QRS. See, some features only create resources, some features only perform tasks. Okay. Next, tasks to be created. See here, I will explain all high level tasks in our test automation. List out all tasks. Tell me, what are the initial tasks, Naomi? Initial tasks. Yesterday we discussed some tasks. Yesterday we discussed some tasks. One minute. Say this one also one of the task. Get environment details. This is also one of the task. First initial task, this one. Next, see, just I am planning is phase, don't confuse. Next, analyzing the AUT in terms of object identification. It is also one, just I am mentioning only high level tasks. Next, third one, selecting areas for automation. Okay, put mute to Naomi. Selecting areas for automation. Next, fourth one, tool settings configuration and globalize. Tool settings configuration and globalize. Next, fifth one, automation framework. Suppose if another orientation, just creating tests, enhancing tests. Next, debugging, running and debugging tests. Next, analyzing result. That is the general flow. That is the general QTP test flow. But here we are using third-party concept automation framework. See, in this framework, under this framework, what are the tasks? Now we are under the framework, means subtasks. Here first task, create folder structure. Create folder structure to store automation resources. Automation resources. Say, up to now we created, 1 minute. Take control, Venugopal, continue. Subtasks under automation framework. Now we are in pipeline. Create folder structure to store automation resources. See, up to now we created so many files and stored in different places. After that we deleted. That is not organized manner. But in company, we have to store and organize resources properly. For that, one folder structure required. So create folder structure to store automation resources. Next, second task. 2. Create automation resources. Create automation resources and store into corresponding folders and store into corresponding folders. Suppose TSR files, repository folder, environment variable files, environment folder, function library folder, files, library folder, etc. That I will explain. Just full stop. Next, third one. Create organizer spreadsheet. This is XLS file. Organizer. Create organizer spreadsheet. Next line. Just bracket. Don't use fourth. Just bracket. Open bracket. Star symbol. Just I am going to explain what is organizer. It is Excel file. It is an Excel file. Okay, continue. It is Excel file. Provides instructions to driver script. Close the bracket. Next, come to fourth high level task. Generate organizer spreadsheet. Generate driver script. Organizer over. Generate driver script. Same. Next line, open bracket and star symbol. About driver script. It is QTP test script. Comma. Say in practical chapter you can get more clarity. Now just know the tasks. It is QTP test script. All resources can be associated with the driver. Comma. Driver executes tests one by one and export results as per continuation, as per organizer instructions. Okay. Next, after getting result, analyze the test result. Fifth point. Analyze the test result. Analyze test result. Next, if you find any deviations from expected, next step, report defects. report defects. Next, just high level tasks. Sanity testing is there, comprehensive is there, so many is there. Just I am explaining high level tasks. Report defects. After reporting defects, uh, execute regression tests on modified builds. Execute regression tests on modified builds. Continuation builds, number of cycles on modified builds. Next task, see reporting defects, that is cycle practice. Next, modify resources, modify resources, automation resources, modify automation resources, modify automation resources within brackets after if required. Sometimes only modifications required. Modify automation resources if required. Automation resource is a technical term. See, give some examples for automation resources. Muhammad, give some examples for automation resources. Ma? Ah, 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 ah. See, why you are confusing? Object spy is feature, not resource. Is it file? Object repository is file. It's not a file. It is a feature. It shows objects information. It doesn't store that information in any format, isn't it? See, displaying is different, storing is different. Objects file doesn't store any information, just it shows the information. Okay. See, why you are confusing, why you are struggling? Just automation resources means what files we create and use in what files we create and use during automation, all are comes under automation resources. Shared repository files, environment variable files, function library files, test batch files, AOM script files, all are comes under resources, isn't it? Next, last point, last one, maintain automation resources. This is continuous practice. Say for maintenance purpose, we use this maintain automation resources. See, these are the important tasks. Leave the control, leave the control, leave the control. 1 minute, I will correct it. Leave the control. Okay, Venugopal, thank you. Uh, Automation resources. Tell me, Naomi, what are the important tasks in this automation framework? Total tasks. Just list out. We will move to next topic. Ah, ah, ah. Hmm. 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 Ah. Under implementation. Ah. 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 Hmm. Ah. Mm. 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 Okay. Ah. Mm. Ah. Ah. If requ ah. Good. Good. See, these are the important tasks. Just I explained high level tasks only. So many low level tasks are there. You know that just high level tasks only I explained. Next, come to main topic, keyword driven framework. Put mute, Naomi. Put mute. Oh, cool, cool, cool. See, keyword driven framework. See, QTP tool tag also advanced QTP, advanced keyword driven testing. See, observe, 1 minute. See, in this, they removed in up to 11 that tag also displaying in launching screen. Okay, 1 minute. Hmm. See, before this keyword driven approach, see in their documentation also they mentioned keyword driven approach. Don't confuse. Keyword driven framework is different. I will explain framework. Practical also required. Keyword driven approach is different. What is keyword driven approach? What is keyword driven approach? Say in this approach we use keywords to create and execute tests. In this approach, we use keywords to create and execute tests or test scripts. Say, QTP supports advanced keyword driven approach. See, earlier QTP tool tag also advanced keyword driven testing. Now, in the documentation also they mentioned this one, but they removed the tag. Advanced keyword driven testing is a tag of QTP tool earlier. What is keyword driven testing? See, in this approach, in this approach, keywords, keywords can be used to create and execute tests. In this approach, keywords can be used to create and execute tests. See, what is keyword that I will explain. See, you take any statement of QTP except comments. You state comments are not statements. You take any statement, you can find keywords. Suppose dialog of login dot activate. Dialog of login dot activate. In that statement, you can find two keywords. Dialog is keyword. Test object also keyword. Key to the code. Activate also keyword. Method also keyword. You no need to write any code for activating the dialog box. Activate method is there. Using that method, you can activate the dialog box or window. Say, in this approach, keywords can be created and executed. In this approach, keywords can be used to create and execute tests. Tell me, Joseph, what is keyword-driven testing? In this approach, keywords can be used to create and execute tests. Okay. You take any statement, you can find one or more keywords. Okay. First of all, what is keyword? What is keyword? Actually, this is global term. You can find this term in all programming languages as well as scripting languages and in other places of computer environment. See, keyword. See, general idea, actually not part of the syllabus. General idea, keyword. What is keyword? Tell me, Smita, what is keyword? General English or QTP? See, I don't want general English. I want this one. Computer terminology. Don't type computer. Uh, 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 okay. I can. I'm expecting from Shraddha. What is keyword? Did you hear the term? Yes, command is one of the example for keyword. Command also one of the keyword, but that is not the definition. Uh, code is different. Don't confuse. Code is different. We build code with instructions. Okay, definition one, simple definition. Reserved word. Uh, See, first simple definition. A key to the code. A key to the code. Hmm. Second definition. Before that, first I will explain first definition. A key to the code. Suppose I want to count length of a string or number. For that, I no need to write any code. Len, Len, that len is key to the code. Already Microsoft prepared code for finding length. That code key is len. Len, code, key to the code. If you want to check whether the value is numeric value or not, you no need to write any code. Is numeric function is there, that is key to the code. Keyword. Suppose if you want to generate system date, you no need to write the code. You no need to write the code. Date function is there. Using date function, you can generate the code. Means simple definition, a key to the code. Here, keywords two types. One is system defined, another is user defined. System defined, user defined. Can you give some example for some user defined keywords, Yosef? System defined easy. Method is keyword, test object is keyword, function is keyword. Uh, can you give examples for user defined keywords? Uh, Variable is not keyword. First of all, remember variable is not keyword. Dimension, dim statement, predefined keyword, defined by Microsoft, not by Yosef or GC Reddy. Defined by Microsoft, defined by the Microsoft. That is predefined keyword. Tell me, tell me, Naomi, give some example for user defined keywords. Option explicit, system defined, Microsoft defined, not Naomi defined or yes, yes, exactly. User defined functions are user defined keywords. Suppose I created login function, register function, insert order function, open order function, names my own. That is user defined keywords. They work. They work as per your code. Suppose you wrote a code for login function. If you call login, that login operation, login functionality will be performed. That is, and one more example. Srinivas, can you give one more example for user defined keywords? Okay. See, test. Yes, yes, good. Automation objects also user-defined objects, user-defined keywords. See, test object. Test object is system-defined. We can't create test object. Utility object, system-defined. We can't create. Automation object, user-defined. See, keywords two types, system-defined, user-defined. But anyhow, a key to the code. Next, another definition, some elaboration. It is a reserved word, reserved, reserved word. Reserved means reserved for particular purpose. We cannot use that word for another purpose. It is a reserved word that refers. It is a reserved word that refers a command, a command or function or method or object or statement. VBScript statements are there. VBScript statement. Example, option explicit, wait, wait also reserved word. See, it is a reserved word that refers a command or function or method or object or statement, etc. See, this is about keyword. Next, I will list out. See, I think all of you familiar with VBScript and QTP keywords. It is important topic. Already we discussed, but in different chapters. Now I will list out all keywords that we use in QTP test automation. Today I will start the topic. We will continue tomorrow. Just I will start the topic. Keywords, keywords in QTP test automation. Keywords in QTP test automation. Keywords, just 2 minutes. Keywords in QTP test automation. First I will list out, then tomorrow I will provide examples for every keyword. Test objects. Test objects also keywords. I will provide examples tomorrow. Second one, utility objects. Utility objects. Utility objects also keywords. Next, third one, automation objects. Automation objects. Automation objects also keywords, but automation object names local. Test objects names, utility objects names standard. Why? System defined. Automation object names local. Why? User defined. Next, functions also keywords. Functions. See, we have two types of functions. 1 minute. One is global functions. What is global? What is local? I will explain tomorrow. Next one, local functions. Example, activate, set, select, get visible text, get RO property, capture, bitmap, navigate, sync, click, close, all are local methods only, not global methods. Sorry, this is methods. Methods. Global methods, local methods. Fifth one, functions. Functions. You know we have two types of functions. Basically we have two types of functions. Built-in. Built-in. System defined. Next, user defined. User defined. Next, VBScript statements. Etc. Okay. Tomorrow I will explain examples. After this chapter, almost all framework theory completed. Theory will be completed. Next, we will concentrate on practical. We will meet